going to give you our update right here. I am flanked by Chief of Police Mary O'Connor and our Fire Chief and Emergency Manager Barbara Tripp. The forecast hasn't changed a great deal. As many of you know, this is going to be potentially the worst case scenario for the Tampa Bay area. A slow moving storm right off of our coast, which is going to bring a devastating amount of water to the Tampa Bay area. As you all know, we are already saturated. We had our usual thunderstorm last evening, and we had streets closed because of the flooding. We are doing all that we can right now, continuing right up to when we start to feel the effects of Hurricane Ian, to mitigate, pumping water out of our stormwater ponds, letting water over the dam, doing all that we can to make sure that that water has a clear path somewhere to go. The issue is when the storm surge comes in, we all know Tampa Bay is very shallow, and so that storm surge comes into Tampa Bay, there's really no place for it to go. It's going to be in our rivers, it's going to be in our streams, it's going to be in our canals, it's going to be in our stormwater drains and ditches. So this is something that the entire community needs to be aware of. We have over 120 miles of coastline just in the city of Tampa. Property that abuts some type of water source. And so this is going to affect a lot of individuals. We have already called, Hillsborough County announced an evacuation of Zone A. That's already been in effect, and I think a lot of our residents that were in that area have left. This morning at 10 o'clock, the county called for a mandatory evacuation of Zone B as well. This storm is not to be taken lightly. I know that growing up here in Florida, you hear about people that have hurricane parties and stay where they're at despite the warnings. This is not the time to stay. A car will float away in 3 feet of water, and we're talking about a 10 to 15 foot surge. As I have said over and over, the only element that has 100% check marks in the wind column is Mother Nature. And so you have got to make sure that you are out of the path of this storm. And when we say evacuation, you don't have to go far. You just have to get on the high ground. This is going to be much more of a water event than it is a wind event. And we hide from the wind and run from the water. We have done, as I stated, as much as we could to prepare. We've opened up shelters in cooperation with the school system in Hillsborough County. 46 shelters open. We have shelters that take pets, special needs individuals. So that transportation is going on right now. I said yesterday in a briefing that Uber had offered free rides to shelters, and that offer stands. Uber's providing those rides, and Heartline is as well. We're trying to get individuals out of those low-lying areas, and I know that Chief O'Connor will talk a little bit more about that. We're closing down the sandbag locations around 2 o'clock this afternoon, and have already provided over 50,000 sandbags to our community. I've been in contact with the port. They have shut down, but they're going to open up. All of their fuel systems are full. They're going to open up as soon as they possibly can and get trucks running out of there, and then bringing in replenishing ships with more fuel as well. Communications. I've been in contact with Verizon, with AT&T, and with T-Mobile. They have satellite trucks, cows, everything staged close to us to bring that in. I've been in contact over and over with the state EM. They have all of their resources staged and ready to come here into this area. We've done all that we can to ensure that we're providing the services that will keep our community safe. What we're asking each and every resident to do in the city of Tampa is to be aware and, again, get away from the water. Now I'll bring up Chief O'Connor. You first? Okay. Chief Tripp.
Okay, good morning. Chief Tripp with Tampa Fire Rescue, Emergency Manager for the City of Tampa. As the Mayor has stated, this is not a drill. Everyone needs to take heed to all the communication that is being distributed within the City of Tampa. What have we done to prepare? We have a lot of shelters available. If you are in those evacuation zones, you need to listen to the news and please evacuate your family for safety. We are going to experience a lot of water. In the meantime, we have reached out to other agencies for assistance. Once this storm passes us, we will be ready and prepared. Do not take this storm lightly. I know everyone, we've had close calls, but this is serious. Please listen to the media. We have a lot of information out there, a lot of resources available for the community. If you need additional resources, please check the website, tampa.gov/hurricane for additional information. A lot of generators you may have at home. Please make sure you visit the website for information about generator safety. Once again, we urge everyone to please take precaution for Hurricane Ian. Now I bring up Chief O'Connor.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. As Mayor Castor and Chief Tripp have so clearly stated that this is not a drill. Hurricane Ian will be upon us before we know it. Tampa PD is all hands on deck right now to be ready to assist anybody in the City of Tampa or anybody else that needs assistance. There are a plethora of resources available. Tampa PD has been working tirelessly to make sure that our most vulnerable populations and our most vulnerable areas have the resources available to them. What does that mean? Tampa PD has visited everybody in Hurricane Zone A that was evacuated mandatorily yesterday, knocked on every single door and encouraged residents to seek shelter and get safe by evacuating Zone A. Tampa PD is now out visiting personally everybody in Zone B. So again, if Tampa PD knocks on your door, please take their precautions seriously and get yourself to safety. We are there to encourage you and to give you the resources you need in order to stay safe. Not only in our most vulnerable areas, but also our most vulnerable population, our homeless population. Tampa PD is out visiting our homeless population, asking them to please seek shelter. We are using HART and we are using Uber to transport homeless individuals to the shelters as well. Tampa PD's emergency high water vehicles are poised and ready post-storm efforts to get out and provide rescue missions if necessary. As it was mentioned, Tampa PD is assisting with sandbag locations. We will be ceasing sandbag operations between 1:30 and 2 o'clock today. So if you have not gotten your sandbags yet, now you need to do so. Just one quick reminder to residents, now is not the time to panic. Please stay calm. Please get prepared. Please use all of your resources at your fingertips that you need. And again, Tampa PD, along with everybody else in the City of Tampa, is poised, ready, all hands on deck to assist our residents. And we're here for you. The roadways, I'll just close with that. Please stay off the roadways when the storm does hit. Once the winds reach a certain miles per hour, Tampa PD has to shelter in place, so we will not be out on the streets. So it's very important to stay aware of what's going on out there. And again, I appreciate everybody's hard work and dedication. Thank you.
Any questions? Yes. Yes, I've spoken to Archie Collins with TICO several times today, and what they want to do is to shut down power in those areas that should have already been evacuated. There are specific buildings in the downtown area and then the Harbor Island, Davis Island location, and they're doing that for good reason. If the storm surge If it's clear that storm surge is coming and it's going to overwhelm the circuits, it is better to preemptively turn those off than to let them short out. They can bring them back up faster if they take that precaution.
What time can we expect that to happen?
We will let you know. I don't want to speak for TECO. I think that there's still that sort of a minute by minute, but the locations that they have indicated to me are going to be in Zone A, and that's already been a mandatory evacuation for well over 24 hours.
Mayor, when you talk about the storm surge, do you have an image in your mind of a past storm that it might look like, worst case scenario, best case scenario?
No, I've seen, the videos, the imagery where they show in the downtown as the water comes up and down. But I tell you, it takes me back to Hurricane Charlie, where they said if we had taken that direct hit, it would have been a 10 to 15 foot tidal surge that would have peaked at the interstate in South Tampa. There's going to be a lot of water. There's no doubt about that. And we can predict, but we also know how these storms change. So it can get better if the storm comes ashore a little south of us, and I don't know that it can get much worse, but I'm sure there's a scenario that says that it could. But right now, a storm that slows down for 24 to 48 hours and just continuously dumps rain into the Tampa Bay area is devastating.
Question for the mayor or Chief O'Connor. What would you say to residents who are evacuating and might be concerned about the security of their property, keeping their property unsecured, possible crime,
Right.
any thought of curfews or things like that?
We will be putting a curfew in place. Andrea Zellman, our city attorney, has already crafted that, but we work in collaboration with the county to ensure that we're taking those steps together, and I guarantee that everyone's property is going to be safe and secure. One of the things post-storm that will be the first time that we've enacted is for our damage assessment. We'll have drones that will be flying over, and I'll let Chief O'Connor talk about the robust reentry program that the Tampa Police Department has had in place for years, and each storm season they've continued to improve it.
Thank you, Mayor. So in order for residents to get back into their neighborhoods and their communities post-evacuation, we are asking that they have their hurricane hang tag available. A lot of residents are unsure about what the hurricane hang tag is. For future storms or future events, we do provide, the City of Tampa Emergency Management does provide a hang tag that shows that you belong in the neighborhood you're attempting to get back into. But for all intents and purposes, if you do not have a hurricane hang tag, don't panic. If you have ID or some type of other documentation to prove that you do belong in that neighborhood, we will let you back in. So we are prepared to secure these neighborhoods as best we can so that anyone that does not belong in these neighborhoods is not coming back in post-evacuation.
Question for the mayor, city services, garbage collection, and other city services. How long will they continue?
We put that out today. I believe the solid waste stopped their pickups today, and so 12 noon stopped, but they're usually done early anyway. So covered all the neighborhoods that if this was your trash day, then it should have already been picked up. And then we clearly look at anything that could be dangerous in high winds and make sure that we've picked up all of that. Have also been in close communication with David Gwynn, who is our area FDOT regional supervisor. They've picked up all of their construction material along the interstate and other roadways, and we have also required that of all of our contractors. We've been in touch with all of the development that's going on in our city with each and every one of those sites to make sure that they've secured their cranes and that they too don't have any debris on their job sites. Tampa General Hospital been speaking to all the hospitals, all the CEOs of the hospitals throughout the city, and been in constant contact with John Corris. They have put up the storm barrier around Tampa General. So this is going to be the test right here. But I've talked to him, and they aren't evacuating anyone at this point, but they have systems in place that individuals will be protected, and they have plenty of resources, generators working, and they're comfortable that they can protect their patients at Tampa General. Yes, that's the high water driving through. If you can't see, don't go into it. You're just gonna, like I said before, 3 feet of water, your car is gonna float. So those kind of common sense things, as my dad used to say, common sense isn't as common as we'd all like to think, but just common sense. Don't be out there on the roads driving around. There's going to be down trees, but more importantly, there's going to be down electric lines, and that it's more dangerous after the storm than it is. I think I got a call from the president.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, so actually all nursing homes should have a generator that they report to the county as well as the state to make sure it's in full operations. The nursing home that are in evacuation area, currently we are assisting with evacuating those patients to facilities that's in higher grounds. Currently, the only one that we have requests for is about 41 patients coming from South Tampa, and we're actually relocating those to Central Tampa.
Chief, what sort of outreach will you do to sort of make sure people are leaving, and what happens if they stay? What if they do decide to have that person start?
We are adamant that people need to heed the warning, and they do need to evacuate if they're asked to do so. However, we're not going to force anybody out of their homes, but we really need to stress the fact that these evacuation orders were put in place for a reason. The experts know what the potential damage is, what the potential life loss is. People need to take these warnings very seriously. As far as outreach is concerned, as we all know, we use our phones a lot these days for social media. There's a lot of resources out there. Both the City of Tampa, the Tampa Fire Rescue, and the Tampa Police Department is constantly posting on social media any updates and any outreach that the residents need to know in order to stay safe. Go ahead, Trevor.
Do we have an idea of the point of no return, if you will? Is there a certain point where residents haven't evacuated, we're not going to be able to come get you until after the storm? Like we kind of figured out that window where the window closes.
Yeah, I mean, I would say a few hours before storms landfall. I can tell you this, that when the wind speeds are sustained at 40 miles an hour or higher, first responders do not go out on the street. So we do have to shelter in place at 40 miles an hour or higher. So please don't expect an emergency response. I just very strongly encourage residents to act now. This morning, the traffic on I-275 northbound was quite heavy. I can only imagine that it is heavier now. So now is the time to take these evacuations seriously and not wait. I have to refer that to legal. I do know that we are currently writing up a curfew ordinance. I don't know when exactly that would take effect. I can venture to say it's going to be sometime this evening with the county. And now that the storm has seemed to speed up a little bit, we probably would be implementing any curfews sooner rather than later. But we will be coordinating with Hillsborough County, obviously, as well. I mean, obviously, the fact that they're high up in a building that's in evacuation zone A or B does not matter, because once they come down to the ground floor, there's a very strong potential that it's going to be underwater. So even if you're in a high-rise building, don't take that as a safety net. You know, obviously, if you're in evacuation zone A or B, regardless of what level you're on, you need to heed the warnings.
Chief, I was also wondering, with the fire department, fire and rescue, are you going to be stationing any apparatuses outside of the fire department
So we have fire stations that are currently in certain evacuation zones, and they have been relocated, but we also have reached out to additional resources to assist us. So the fire stations that have been evacuated zones, they are relocated in areas that they still going to assist with the community. But like Chief O'Connor stated, once they receive a certain sustained wind, we will not be able to respond. So that's why we want to make sure that everyone understand an emergency situation. If those sustained winds are, 40 or greater, we can't, because we have to definitely protect our first responders.
Mayor, you were saying that you may have gotten a call from the president just recently. Did he offer anything?
The President Biden called yesterday and left a message, and I happened to be in the Hart budget meeting. Probably would have been better to take the president's call, but he just called again. He said that his staff let me know that he would be calling sometime between 11 and 1. He had the FEMA director in his office, and he just wanted to ensure that we had all the resources that we needed, and clearly wishing us the best. No, that was the president. All right, thank you guys, much appreciated.
Yeah, that is cool.